Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Dr. Hayden, for being with us this afternoon and for the conversation that you and I had yesterday. I want to first start by mentioning, it was referenced earlier by the ranking member, Morelli, talked a little bit about AI and how we're utilizing AI, and as the chairwoman of the Modernization and Innovation Subcommittee, that's been a big focus for my subcommittee. There will be training, actually, in utilization of AI tools that is currently being discussed within the House. So I wanted to make sure that that was addressed. And the other thing that I think is of note is the flash reports that our subcommittee drafted and posted. You can find them on the CHA website that really talks about AI and integration within the House writ large. And so I encourage anyone that wants a little more information about what the House is doing on an AI front to look at those. As has been mentioned, the library is home to one of the most important congressional support agencies, the Congressional Research Service. And I see the director, current director, Don Frieden, former director Llewellyn are here this afternoon. So thank you for your service and the great work that you are doing. This organization has faithfully served Congress for over 110 years. And the staff provides critical support and are subject matter experts that help inform members and certainly our staff. So we appreciate the work that is happening within CRS and appreciate the opportunity as members of the House Administration Committee to continue that great work together. I want to start, you mentioned just briefly in the last line of questioning, money. And funding, making sure that you have continued funding. I want to talk a little bit about the visitor experience funding. We spoke briefly about this yesterday. The initial funds that were appropriated were totaling $42 million for the federal side, and it looks like that's increased to $72 million, so it's a pretty hefty increase. Can you talk a little bit about that?
The cost estimates from the architect of the Capitol in terms of design and construction, we understand were estimates, and over time, those estimates
when were those
changed.
estimates originally given to Congress? Do you remember?
There were several iterations, and they continue to be given to Congress. And I mentioned those meetings that happen every 2 weeks now, and it's the library and the architect of the Capitol. And in fact, I brought some visuals, 1,000 and how many pages of notes over the last, since 3 or 4 years in terms of working on this project. Of course, there was the pandemic that delayed actual physical construction. So the project is on track.
Will we be revisiting the estimates that you were given for phase 3, or are they already built into the original cost
There's
estimate?
a healthy contingency
Okay.
that the AOC has, and I mentioned that I testified with Mr. Austin this morning. We are not anticipating any. Of course, with, and as he mentioned also, though, with historic buildings, 1897, there might be things that are discovered, but they're well along, definitely with construction, site preparation. There have been a few things, but the contingency is very healthy. And on the library side, we met and stayed within the budget of private fundraising for the $20 million and even somewhat beyond. And so there should be no design changes.
Great.
Nothing that would, this is, we're when the Inspector General report that came out in February of 2024 came out, we were all in the planning stages. Now we're in the implementation a year later. And so there should not
Great.
be any significant increases.
You mentioned in earlier testimony that you have a great working relationship with the new architect of the Capitol and that you all have been able to coordinate accordingly, and I very much appreciate that. I think there were challenges, as was mentioned by the chairman, with the previous architect to be able to make sure that there was dialogue and agreement on how to move forward. And so I thank you and the architect for making sure that we continue to use taxpayer dollars wisely. We are appropriating those dollars to you, and we expect you all to be able to do the most that you possibly can to make sure that we're achieving our goals. So with that, Madam Chair, I yield.